So grateful to have you here. The mic is all yours.
Hi, family. Thankful Thursday to each and every only one of us. Every only one. Uh, we say every because we're called by different names. We're called Dove and Regis and Sharonda and Katia, because I know you're out there listening. Um, I am in such a calm state that, it's interesting. Somebody was talking the other day about waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I said, well, when did the first shoe drop? What shoe? Where'd that even, what shoe? There is no dropping shoe. And I'm reading this book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And in his book, he talks about the fact that we we go into a place of feeling good, place of peace, place of joy, place of happiness, place of laughter, whatever. And then we set a limit on it because we think, oh no, I'm not supposed to feel this good. It's not a conscious thing. But what we end up doing is we may end up starting an argument with somebody, or we make ourselves sick, or all kinds of stuff. We do all kinds. We we don't let ourselves just continue to feel the good feeling. We think there's something wrong with that. It could be from home training, and as as much as a lot of us had love for our parents. I'm not one of them until much later, but as much as a lot of us had love for our parents, we can look back. I could look back and see there were a lot of decisions that mommy made that just today I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I don't even know where she got that from. What the heck was she thinking? Where does she ever get that way of thinking from? Um, but a lot of what we tend to who we think we are is based on who they thought we were. And they could be, parents or teachers or siblings or even so-called friends and associates, acquaintances, employers, spouses, whomever. But a lot of what we think we are is based on what others have thought we were. And I forget, there are moments when I forget that my worth, that who I am, that who I am isn't even who I am. It's what I am, and what I am is an emanation. That's my new word, y'all. Not a part of, not I am an emanation of spirit. I am an emanation of God. I am a physical embodiment of that. And all right, so I'm gonna pause there. I'm gonna go find the slides and see what I have because it was this morning, like within the hour, lovable. So I forgot today was Thursday. I forgot today was Thursday. What happened? You see what they say. See what had happened was that because of the snow, we had 14 inches of snow. I don't know where you are, but we experienced 14 inches of snow. Um, and because of the snow, all of the um, sanitation days were moved. And generally, it's on Tuesday. So, of course, Tuesday meant that, not because it wasn't going to be picked up on Tuesday, it meant it was going to be picked up yesterday. And then I was told, since I didn't see anything that even resembled, um, uh, people weren't putting their stuff out. I'm like, so what's going on? So, called somebody and said, oh no, it's not being picked up until tomorrow. I said, oh, okay. So this morning I'm gathering and putting out and whatever and taking lovable out and oh just wonderful thing. And then it dawns on me, wait. Today's not Wednesday. It's Thursday. Oh my God, it's Thursday. And the only reason why I really remembered that is because I have a massage appointment today, and I remember that was Thursday. Anyway, so we get to a certain point, and we forget We forget that it's okay to continue to be in joy. It's okay to continue to be in peace. We think, oh, I was sent a sentence from the course. I love when that happens. I get these text messages or these emails, and it says that undoing is not my task. Undoing is not our task. They say, what? What? We're always saying that, the only thing we have to do is accept the atonement for ourselves. It doesn't say, oh, let me repeat what it actually says. It says that we have to accept, keyword is to accept the atonement. Undoing, which is atoning, is not our task. It's not my job to fix me. It's not my job to fix anything. Well, first of all, it's not broken. If something is broken, then we're saying, oh God, you screwed it up. You messed it up. You didn't do it right, God. I have to fix it. You didn't do that person right. You didn't do me right. Something is wrong with me. I'm flawed. I'm only human. I'm only human. I was talking about that yesterday in another study group, a different study group. I'm only human. I am divine. And so are you. I am divine. What I am at my core, my essence, what I actually am is divine. It has to be, because I am an emanation of that which created me in the image and likeness, which means like that. I am that. And so are you. And that's a wonderful thing. And that's why Dove was talking about, being kind to everyone. That's what makes it recognizing and realizing that truth, holding on to that truth, is what makes it easy to be kind to everyone. And I do mean everyone. And I am certain that there is one person at least that comes to your mind that you say, oh, but no, not that person. And we may all have a different person in mind. It's almost funny. It's almost funny. Kind to everyone, starting with seek first the kingdom, seek first the kingdom, seek first the kingdom. You have to start. It has to start. Let there be peace on earth. Let there be love on earth. Let there be joy on earth. Let there be truth on earth. Yep, on earth, because we established that part on earth. That was from work lesson, I believe it was 219, where it talked about get past the confusion here on earth and let it begin with me. Now, granted, I'm not always kind to myself. So chances are I'm not always going to be kind to you. All right. And that's true. There it is. We just kind of said the same thing. Regis just wrote, the kinder I am to myself. Wait a minute, just lost it. The kinder I am to myself, the kinder I will be to others, all others. Absolutely. But when I'm not being kind to myself, when I forget that I can continue to be happy, when I forget that I can continue to be in joy, when I decide that some situation, some experience, something outside of me, when I forget that that is not, that's temporary, that it's tangible, that it's not real in that regard. It has no permanence. When I forget that, and my thoughts grab hold of it as if it is permanent, then kindness out the window because I'm too busy focusing on how am I going to solve that problem? Why is that? Why do I even have that problem in the first place? Why I can't believe that such and such did this. Oh, I can't believe that that's happening. Oh my God, did you see what they're saying on the television? What? Oh my God. Can there ever be a day when I can just turn on the news and it all be good news? I just need not turn on the news. But the point, I'm not always kind to myself. And that is what we call the call for love. Because when I shoot off at the mouth at someone, which is, I can't remember the last time I did that. Man, isn't that wonderful? I can't remember the last time I shot off at the mouth at someone. I can remember the last time somebody shot off at me, but even then, which was just yesterday, there's uh, this person that you know, a group of us know, and um, by way of example, and I use it as an example. I say I want a hug, but the whole time I've got my hand out. Come here, hug me. Come here, hug me. Right? You can't get to me, and that is to say that the way she chooses her tone, the way she chooses to talk to people, this demanding, you know, almost a neck turning, almost a neck shaking thing. The way that she chooses to talk to people puts people off. She wants she wants to be part of the fold. She wants to be in it, but she keeps putting her hand out. Um, and what's interesting about it, see, I love the triggers. I love the triggers. I love them. Um, this was someone that I had told a couple of years ago, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I really don't. I don't care to engage with you in conversation anymore. And I've not had an actual conversation with her since. However, um, she made a request um, to be part of one of the study groups that I facilitate. And in the course, in chapter 24, section 1, it says, first sentence, love is extension. 3-word sentence, Dove. Love is extension. To withhold it from anyone is to withhold it from everyone. I was reading the articles for this study group. It's a spiritual living circle based on the Science of Mind magazine and a Guide for Spiritual Living. Great magazine. Anyway, shameless plug. um, and I was reading one of the articles, and in the article, it talked about the very thing of picking and choosing who to be nice to. And I'm using nice in parentheses. I'm not even sure that nice is the word. I'm sure that nice isn't the word they use. But anyway, you know, people of who um to extend, to whom to extend. And the meeting had not yet started, but I had sent her the information so that she could attend. And she's the person that came to mind. And I thought about it, I prayed about it, I thought about it some more, and I prayed about it some more, and recognized that in a matter of speaking, I had made her special on the, you know, -0 side, but I had made her special. And in that moment, the irritation was gone. Seeing her based on who she's been in the past was gone, because I don't know who any of you are in this moment. I love. I was listening to Reverend Raymond Anderson, um, and he was talking uh, about the present, and he uses an example about taking a breath. And we can all do that right now. Take a breath. Just take a breath. But what you can't do is take a breath and save it for a future time when you might need a breath. What you can't do is go back and grab a breath that you took yesterday, a minute ago, that you took to use right now, because it's all right now. That the whole idea of thinking that I know that that person is going to blah, 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 because they always blah, blah, blah. Thomas Troward said that principle is not bound by precedent. Principle is not bound by precedent. Principle stands like an oak. It stands. And the past has nothing to do with it. Now is only now. Truth is only now. So, having read the article, having freed myself, it was, I love those miracles. I love those miracles. I do. I do. I wasn't trying to force anything. Back to undoing is not my task. I wasn't trying to force anything. What I allowed myself to do was to look at what I was, the way I was thinking. Just look at it, not judge it, not try to force myself to change it, but just look at it. And I was able to have that laugh. Love those triggers. I absolutely love those triggers. Okay. I said all that to say I have no idea what, and I don't know why. You know me. It just comes and it just comes. So I'm going to share my screen and see what and see share and see what's going on. What's going on? Of course, we're talking about A Course in Miracles meets Science of Mind and other metaphysical teachings. And I have here a list of people who, and this list has changed because I started going back and going older, going far back, coming up some. Just a couple, or just a few of those people are still alive, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 6 of the last 7 on the right hand side are still on the physical plane. But anyway, these were people that well, actually, Helen Schuckman's mother studied. She studied Christian Science. She was a Christian Scientist, and a lot of the teachings, it becomes easy for me anyway to read and understand Christian Science or Science of Mind, or Joe Goldsmith, who was also a Christian Scientist. He studied Christian Science for 16. He was a Christian Scientist for 16 years. Based on some of, it's easy to understand the course, how a lot of the teachings in the course, I've read in other works, and it's all God. Let me go back to that. It's all God. Anyway, bunch of people, bunch of people, all worth looking into, and I have a few more if anybody's interested. As always, we should daily train our thought, train our thought, train our thought to recognize the spirit in everything we do, say, or think. And that doesn't mean that I'm making that I'm undoing is my task. If it feels like a burden, the course even says, if there's resistance, then you're really just not ready. Just be where you are, accept where you are, know that where you are is quite all right. It's quite all right. Because you are where you're supposed to be. We are exactly, what happened here? We are exactly where we're supposed to be right now. And thinking, oh, I should be further along. I've been studying this or oh man, they should be further, that sort of thing. Oh man, there I go judging again. Oh, I thought I had a handle on it. I'm beating myself up. Why? But what I am doing is training my thoughts, taking my time, recognizing that what I said earlier, that a lot of what I thought I was based on who other people told me I was or wasn't. not this, not good enough for that, to think I'm too good for the other, and all that stuff. How many times um have we, I would say any of us, um attempted to shine. Let me come back out the screen. That we've attempted to shine our light before we knew that that's what it was, before we heard the term about shining our light. But when, we were young, or even older, but usually when we're young and we attempt to shine our light, and somebody, tells us, stop that. Oh, you need to be more humble. Oh, stop showing off. Stop bragging. Stop stop being yourself is what we're being taught. I was being taught. I speaking from stop being yourself. There are some people who were fortunate enough to have had um, parents or caregivers who were affirming. There are people who I know who came up in religious science. That wows me. I know of Reverend Maxine K. Everything that comes out of her mouth is she always, how she does it blows me away. She always finds the beauty in it. She always seems to find a way to affirm it, because what she's doing is she's giving thanks for whatever it is all the time. It's just the way she's, and I'm not saying that I hear her say, oh, thank you, oh, thank you, thank you. No, no, no. You can hear it in what's coming out of her mouth. She's continually affirming life. She's continually, and just it just blows me away. It just blows me away. I don't come across, um it's rare. It's very rare to come across people like that. And I know other people who came up in the same teaching who aren't necessarily, who don't necessarily demonstrate that way. But this woman is, for me, a way shower. So we should daily train our thoughts to recognize the spirit in everything we do, say, or think, because to learn how to live, to learn how to live, to learn how to think is to learn how to live. And Christian Larson teaches that we naturally become master over all life when we can understand and master the process of thinking. Thinking is our door to everything. Thinking is our door to everything. Everything comes from thought. It starts with a thought, and then it becomes a feeling, and then it becomes an action. It started with a thought, which then became awareness, consciousness, and we're taught to be aware. We're taught to be aware, even though it was this consciousness that showed us that there was a this and a that, where we began to analyze and to compare and to see things differently. The fact is that that's the way it is. If someone were to ask you right now, who's speaking, you're going to say Zulma. Why? Because that's the way from the time these bodies hit the planet, we came we came on the scene. We went from warm to cold. We didn't know to call it that, but that's what it was. We went from darkness, from a dark, dark, warm place to a cold, bright place. All these sounds that were maybe have been muffled when we were inside our mommies, we then came out, and then now all of this cacophony of, we learned to compare the second our bodies came on the scene. Anyway, I don't even know why I said all that. Um, the whole thing about consciousness, the whole thing about thought, it's about thought. It's about thought. The course teaches that this is a course in mind training. It's about training our mind. Keep the word of God alive in your mind, in your thought, and in your experience. Joel Goldsmith teaches. And as I just said, this is a course in mind training. All learning involves attention and study at some level. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. Can't just I can sit around. It's like the person who wants to hit the lottery but won't play it. Or a person's willing to work even harder, you know, goes out in the snow to play the lottery. Well, anyway. A person who says they want, oh, me, I'm talking about, oh yeah, I want to lose weight. I had done, and I was doing so well. And then I stopped doing what I was doing. But I'm still talking about I want to lose weight. Well, that obviously can't be true because I'm not conducting myself in a way that matches. It's called a mental equivalent. Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote, um, I'll tell you what you're thinking. If you show me how you're living, and I'll tell you what you're thinking. It's evident. It's evident. We are manifestations of our thoughts, feelings, behavior, everything that we are, everything that we think we are, everything that we choose to be in terms of living this physical life is based on what we think. And which brings me to this passage from the Course, that every response we make is determined by what we think we are. And what's a response? A form of behavior. Where's it come from? What we feel. Where'd that come from? What we thought. Every response you make is determined by what you think you are. Now here's the rub. What you think, or rather, what you want to be is what you think you are. So I want to be thinner. Let's go with thinner. I was going to say healthier, but yeah, all that goes together. The numbers start going up, blood pressure numbers start going up, A1C goes up, all that when the weight goes up. So I want to be. I say I want to be that. I'm thinking that right now. Right now, I'm thinking that. So this morning, I chose to have a healthy breakfast shake, which was really quite good actually. Protein with some spinach in there, and I had some frozen mango, and oh man, a little honey ginger, and put it in a blender, and it was quite good because I have a sweet tooth, and it was quite good. But tomorrow, if I'm not staying in that, if I'm not choosing to stay on that in that same mindset, if I'm not choosing the mind training, if I'm not choosing to stay focused on what it is that I say I want, then it'll be saying one thing, doing another, and then I'll create conflict for myself. What I want to be is what I think I am. In this moment, I can picture myself wearing that particular dress that I have hanging on the door. It's not the size that I wear right now. I can see myself in it, all that. So to continue with that, what you want to be must determine every response you make. So if I really want to wear that dress, if I really want to make that a reality, a physical reality, then I have to continue with less cake and all that sort of stuff. All right. Um, I came across, I was oops. I was reading Dr. Ernest Holmes, and I may have to bring this well, I can see it. Um, and it was from a work that he wrote called Know Yourself. You are more than you think. Um, it was a compilation. This was a compilation of some of his works. It was compiled and published in 1970, but God only knows how long, it was just a bunch of writings because he wasn't the one that published it. Someone else did, because Dr. Holmes made his transition back in 1960. Anyway, freedom from limitation. It just grabbed my attention. I'm going to read it. Hope you all somebody will get involved and talk to me about what's here. Hi, McKaylee. Uh, we do not question the fact that the belief in lack and limitation has produced a similar objective condition, which is what I just said. Every response we make is determined by what we think we are, because what we do comes from what we think. Um, so we do not question the fact that the belief in lack and limitation has produced a similar objective condition, nor do we deny that people are experiencing a condition of poverty which is not in harmony with happiness or wholeness. What we affirm, however, is that without consciousness, back to that, there could be no experience. And that if we are successful in changing the consciousness, we shall at the same time be successful in changing the experience. So if I'm willing to accept the atonement for myself, then I know I can almost sit back and watch the change occur. Dr. Ernest talks about the difference between choosing and outlining. When we try to outline something, we try to put all the cross all the T's and dot all the I's for ourselves. And no, I got this, God. You just go ahead. You go ahead back. You chill. I got it. Mm. We try to do it all ourselves, and at the same time we think that we're by ourselves. We feel that, oh, I have to do this. No, 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 no. All I have to do is know. All I have to do is know and be willing to accept that I am, as I said earlier, an emanation. I'm a demonstration of the power of God, of the power of truth, the power of life, the power of spirit. That's all. Make it sound easy. Yeah. In spiritual mind treatment, which is what we call affirmative prayer, we must always have as a basic principle in our consciousness the perfection of being, the fundamental necessity of harmony, the unity of good, the freedom from burden. Life must flow along rather than being damned or misdirected. And that's damned with two M's, like put in a dam. Not not that other one. Life must flow along rather than being damned or misdirected. So when I the dam holds the water, that dam, that's the dam we're talking about for those who are listening and aren't seeing the words on the screen. You're holding things back, trying to hold life back, but see, life always says yes. Life can't say no. Life is ever it's ever happening. It's ever moving. It's always going forward. Even when it appears to be going backward, it's always going forward. So attempting to stop it, to hinder it, it's kind of like me collecting things and I can't get anything to come in because I'm not letting anything out. And I mean it's not that extreme, but basically, as long as I'm holding on to stuff, I can't get anything else. I have to be willing to go with the ebb and the flow of it. Life must flow along rather than being damned or misdirected. Continuously, we must bring our thought back to this basic principle: God, or good, or harmony is all there is. I just thought about Regis, who says he believes in easy. He believes in easy. And because he believes in easy, I mean, sure, things, along the way. But the key, at least as I see it, is to focus on the solution and not focus on the problem. I have this problem and I don't know how I'm going to solve this problem, or I got this problem in my way. No, you can't. You can't that way for sure. You cannot get rid of it with the same mind that you made it up in the first place. Mm-hmm. Of Course in Miracles reminds us in workbook lesson 79 that to be willing to just look at it, look at the situation, look at this so-called problem. And in lesson 80 it tells us to realize that there's no problem. There are no problems in God. Life doesn't have problems. We think there are. We create problems. We put the dams up. We do the misdirecting. So continuously, we must bring our thought back to this basic principle: God, or good, or harmony is all there is, and the experiences which man has that contradict this allness of God are but temporary. Basic principle: God is all there is, and the experiences which I have that contradict this allness of God are temporary. They are more or less like a dream from which man may be awakened. This awakening must come through the knowledge that capital T truth is complete, and it is possible for man, you, me, to fully express the capital C center and capital S source of our being, thereby coming into harmonious relationship with the universe. And all those words that Dr. Ernest, it's funny. I'm going to drop the screen. Dr. Ernest Holmes, Thomas Troward, Mary Baker Eddy, Joe Goldsmith. They all have a lot of words. Hi, Glorian. They all have a lot of words. They do. They a lot of words. And I've come to the point where it doesn't seem like a lot of words. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense. Of course, I have to read it twice. That makes sense. Hi, Linda Joy. That makes sense. All those words. So what A Course in Miracles did, and I studied the course first. So it was interesting to go from what at this point, what seemed to me like the Cliff Notes. A Course in Miracles for me is like the Cliff Notes. It's like, and I'm not going to say it's the last book I've ever purchased, no. But if I'm going to go with that type of work, it's the last one I need because it's the Cliff Notes. Mary Baker Eddy said it. Ernest Holmes said it. Joe Goldsmith said it. Evan Fox said it. Raymond Charles Barker said it, and a whole bunch of others. I can, on and on and on. My guy Emerson. Emerson said it. I love this man. Emerson wrote an essay called titled Self-Reliance. And up until I read that, and I mean, you know the course since 1992. You heard me say that. But what the course did for me was it taught me to stop hating. I learned to stop hating with the course. I learned that there are no shoulds. I learned that. I learned that my mother was the most wonderful person in the world for as long as she continued to be alive and in my life. That's what I learned from the course. It taught me to stop trying to make people be who I thought they should be and just to accept them as they are. And in so doing, the relationship between my mother and I became like amazing. The miracle. And those who knew us then were able to, like, wow. It was just so wow. And because of that, I love people. I genuinely love people. I can recognize, oh, that person is having some what they're not feeling their love because they're not expressing their love. I can see it that way. I can understand when the course says that it's a call for love or an extension of love. I have to, and it helps me recognize when it's my call for love, because sometimes when I think it's you calling for love, it's really me calling for love. Oh man, I can't believe that so and so is talking like that. How dare she? Wow, it's real call for love on her part. When meanwhile, I'm working myself up. It's my call for love too. That's what I got from the course. The other teachings help me expand beyond the person. Beyond the person, with the rest of life, to stop shaming myself because I don't do this the way you do it. Listen, it's because of stuff like that I was able to learn more about this thing that they call ADHD, which I say stands for Accepting Divine Healing Daily. I learned about this ADHD, and really the shame disappeared. Wow. Wow, you mean to tell me that all this time I thought I couldn't or that I can't, blah, 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 because there's this thing that's just kind of like, it's like a dam. It's like a dam. But, but the joy of that is now I'm gaining tools, a behavioral therapist, I'm gaining tools that, and I have to do it, the books might say, set a timer, for you it might say, it says set a timer for 30 minutes. Well, for me, that timer might be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Um, for you, it might be, oh, this feels great. And for me, it's like all of a sudden, like, oh, I gotta stop. I can't. And telling and then understanding why I think I can't, because there's something in me that's really saying, I know I can, but why can't I? I know I can, but why can't I? I'm an emanation of God. I can. So why can't I? At least that's the way it happens in my head. And I happened to read a book by a Dr. Ramsey, somebody Ramsey, and that very thought that I had had for so many years, I know I can, but why can't I? Was actually in his book. And just like that. And I'm sitting there holding this book and the tears, I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God. There, it's not my task. Undoing is not my task. Acceptance of what I am and where I am and where you are and what you are. What the what first and then the who. The acceptance of what we all are, and that there are areas where things just aren't going to always work out. What's it say in the course? Let me find it. In mm, and I'm just going as I'm going along. In the manual for teachers, I believe it's number 26. Yeah. Um, under Can God Be Reached Directly? In paragraph 4, it says, do not despair then because of limitations. It is your function to escape from them, but not to be without them. But up to that point, that whole perfectionist thing, gotta be perfect. I have to, and thinking I have to be perfect and knowing that I can't be. That's hell. That was hell for me. That was hell. Thinking I have to, show a certain. I know a person who I used to work with, who thought that the reason why I wouldn't invite her to my home is because I thought that I was too. She only knew. She to this day she doesn't know unless she happens to watch this. You know, um, no, it has nothing to do with that. It was me and is me thinking, no, I can't bring them here. No, then I have to explain. Oh, and at that time I didn't even know how to explain. At least now I can. But there are people who, yeah, there's still people, we know that there are people who will tell a diabetic that if you want to, not have diabetes, just stop eating sugar. No, it's not quite that simple. It's not that simple for the person who they call them BOs, born organized. It's not that simple for the BO. No, it doesn't stand for body odor. No, it doesn't. It's not that simple for a BO can't tell me, oh, well, just set the timer for an hour. I can go ahead and go through the house in an hour. You can go through the house in an hour. What? Takes just to figure out how I'm going to do what I want to do with this section right here. It takes, because the whole, it is not our, it's, I'm going back to what I just read when I first closed the book. um we're too busy. Well, at some point I was too busy trying to make it my task. I was trying to make it my task to do things perfectly, to to show that, because to demonstrate what I've learned from the teachings. oh, well, it's granted, it's very, very, very seldom that I find myself getting angry. But when I do, I come in here and talk about it. But it's very, very seldom. And for some, and there are people who get angry, who come to me to talk about it, to talk about that, because that's something that I've got a good handle on. Now, there are things that I don't have a handle on, then I go talk to somebody. But that's what we're for each other. They're in the area. How do I get past the 10 minutes? Teach me how to do 15 minutes? Teach me to remember to set the timer in the first place. Teach me, help me, because we're here for each other. We're here for each other, and to criticize you because you don't do things the way I do, or for you to criticize me because I don't have a handle on things that you do. We're denying each other the gifts that we each have. Oh my God. That wasn't what I don't know where all that came from. Do not despair then because of limitations. It is your function to escape from them, but not to be without them. If you would be heard by those who suffer, you must speak their language, which means that I had to have experienced some kind of suffering. But yeah, but then we get around, we want to get around all these holy people. We want to get around these holy people, and as soon as we say suffer, no, 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 no. The course is, oh, well, you've chosen suffering. Okay, okay, that's in the course too. That it's a choice. It's a choice until I choose to see it differently. And once I see it differently, I realize, my gosh, I have caused myself this suffering. I got that. But for me to make the phone call to somebody, and it happened. I got a phone call from a gentleman who needed to talk about something that was, bothering him, and he had gone to someone else to talk about it, and the person had told them, well, it's all a dream, and you attracted this to yourself, and it's like, that's not what that gentleman needed to hear at that time. That absolutely was not what he needed. He he needed to, he first of all, he needed to be heard. He needed to be heard in its entirety, and and he, uh, my position when it came time for me to talk was to guide until he could see, not for me to tell him until he could see, because he actually said, yeah, I expected more of her. I said, what'd you say? And I asked him to say it again. He said, I expected more of her. And I said, oh man, those damn expectations. I did. That's what I said. Right. And he started to laugh. Not telling him, you brought this on yourself and you wanted this experience because that wasn't. We say we're here to be truly helpful. We say we're here to be truly helpful. And then we get an opportunity to do so. And here I'm going to bash you. I'm going to bash you. Yes, Glorian wrote, I always ask the Holy Spirit, what is the loving thing to do or say? Oh, better believe that, but that's where listening comes in. That's where true listening. You're listening without judgment, because it would be too easy to think, oh, he's so sensitive. Oh, hell, I'm so sensitive. It's too easy to go there, to start thinking about, to start putting a judgment on it. And then I wouldn't be able to hear everything he's really saying. I wouldn't be able to get out of the way to let spirit hear what he's saying. I wouldn't be able to get out of the way and see spirit to spirit, God to God. I wouldn't be able to see that. So it goes on. This is from the course. If you would be heard by those who suffer, you must speak their language. When I was a nicotine user, my mommy couldn't tell me anything about stopping smoking because she didn't smoke. She didn't smoke. What? Get out of here. I found a Nicotine Anonymous group. People who were experiencing what I was experiencing. And that's where I was able to get Oh, 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 mommy couldn't understand that. You must speak their language. If you would be a savior, you must understand what needs to be escaped, which means we're talking about life happens. And it's not my place to tell you that you shouldn't, if you hadn't, well, see, and that's because that's not being truly helpful. That's really not being truly helpful. You're not helping me by telling me what I should have done. You're not helping me by telling me that the way I went about it was wrong. That whatever that was that occurred was necessary for me to get where I am right now. Come on, didn't Edison with the doggone light bulb? Pro basketball players, how many baskets they miss before they finally reach that place where where they're considered pro? If they themselves had thought, oh man, screwed up. Oh man, I screwed up. And then they stopped, they would be damning or misdirecting, as Ernest wrote. Damning or misdirecting. Stopping, blocking themselves from being able to shine their light. No, they kept believing. We kept believing. We have to keep believing that we have, okay, Lori, love you. We have to keep remembering that we are the light, even when I don't set the timer for 15 minutes, even when I don't, get that project, the way I thought it should be at that time, even when I come with and realize that today was Thursday, just less than an hour before I'm supposed to be here. Even when somebody's saying something and I'm thinking, oh my God, right now I can't listen to this. Even then, I have to remember that it's still all love. It's still all love. It's still all love. That I am still love. That I am still an emanation of God. This is my unique way of expressing. And in this moment, I may not have it to give. In this moment, this might not be my moment. But I'm willing to at least step back and look at. And I've done that. We're as licensed practitioners. We're taught if somebody's coming to you with something and that and it's something of a major trigger for you, and you really don't think that you can be impartial, direct them to another practitioner. Doesn't nobody in particular, but direct them elsewhere. I don't have to, I don't have all the answers, and I'm not supposed to. That's why we are all emanations. That's exactly why. We come here. Sometimes we go, there's certain people that certain segments that we just love to listen to. Other segments, and it doesn't mean that the other segments aren't good. It doesn't mean that the other people, that those other speakers aren't. It doesn't mean that. But some things just resonate more than others, and that's okay. That's why we have all these wonderful choices. The key, though, is not to criticize someone else for their choice. Dr. Ernest in the Science of Mind textbook, he says something like, don't be criticizing other people for their religions. Well, that's what this is about. That is not what this is about. We're all paths lead to God. All paths lead to God. Even the ones that we think, oh, it seems like it's going to take them a longer time to get there, But even those paths, how can it not lead to God? It's all God. There is no spot where God is not. Ooh. Ooh, Mickey wrote, expectations are disappointments under construction. I like that. That's cool. Expectations are disappointments under construction. A couple of weeks ago, Bob wrote something about expectations too, and I wrote it down somewhere, and I don't remember where I wrote it. But I did write it down about expectations. Expectations are illusions. And Karen wrote, reminds me of what Oh, our friend, Karen G. That's right. If it's not, I can be happy if I can be happy, even if. Yes, yes. I hold on to that too. Even if it's a no matter what thing. It's a no matter what. First of all, who am I to think I'm right? I mean, ultimately right. There's only one. It's written in the Bible that someone came to Jesus and said, it's written this way. He said, good teacher, what must I do? Blah, blah, blah. And his response was, why are you calling me good? There's only one that's good, and that's the Father. Only one. Only one. It's not me. Oh, I'm told that I make sense. I'm told that that some, that wise words come out, but sometimes, my own wisdom makes no sense even to me. So I have to pick up the phone and go, help me, help me, help me. I had to make a phone call a couple of days ago, earlier this week. Um, last Saturday, I remember. A woman had a tone. She spoke to me in a way that reminded me of the days when mommy and I weren't on terms. All of a sudden, I heard, quote, quote, heard my mother. And I didn't say anything back to her, but I was feeling so tense when I came out of that, came out of that location, that I had to make a phone call. And I hadn't gotten to the point of tears, not quite to tears, but I knew that I needed to do something about this. I knew that it wasn't about her. It was about my perception of her. I let myself go someplace into the past that no longer existed, forgot in the moment that mommy and I ended up having an absolutely wonderful relationship. But in that moment, that's all I had. And I made the phone call and I got what I needed. And when I hung up the phone, I was laughing. The tears were tears of joy and laughter, because sometimes I couldn't talk my way. That would have been going back to trying to make undoing my task. It wasn't for me to do. That's the way the course says. Undoing is not your task. That's a heck of a thought. Yeah, I held on to that. I held on to that. And then it comes back down to acceptance. Just acceptance, because everything is exactly what it is. And that's what it's going to be. It is what it is. And on that note, I just looked at the clock. It's time for me to go. So, and there's Karen G. We're just talking about you. Just talking about you. Hi, loved one. I just mentioned your name in the chat. It says, reminds me of what our friend, this is what Karen wrote. Karen Parente, reminds me of what our friend Karen G shared. It's not, I can be happy if, I can be happy even if. We're just talking about you. Thanks for coming. All right. Love you, family. Here's the
Thank you
mic.
so much, Zulma. Wonderful sharing. I'm so grateful for you. And by the way, you look marvelous today. So festive. Anyway, thank you. Thank you.